Besides being white, what is it about you that thinks you can succeed when Obama was not able to, in terms of working across the aisle?
And that's a loaded question the way you asked it, and I'm going to reject the whole premise. I don't think there's anything in my race that is going to, I think the people like Mitch McConnell, who stood in Obama's way, would stand in any Democrat's way who had a progressive vision as President Obama did. I do think my background is different than President Obama's. He's brilliant. He's probably one of the smartest people we've ever had as a president. But I spent all these years in a small business dealing with angry people, many of whom were angry at me because it was my restaurant. You learn all the different tools there are to work with people and to get them feel heard, right? One of the basic rules in restaurants is when someone's really angry, you repeat back to them what they said, the exact words they said, and in hearing their own words, they feel validated. In some way, they feel heard. In many cases, it begins a process where, and it usually takes days. I mean, in a restaurant, it'll take an hour, but sometimes you'll have to call them back again to try and resolve the issue with finality. But when you say the other person's words, you hear it in a different way. And again, I'm not saying this with Mitch McConnell. I think Mitch McConnell, he said he was going to do everything he could to make sure that Barack Obama was not successful in his first term. I don't know, I think that verges on treason. That might be too harsh a word, but he's saying that he wants America to do worse, just for his political purposes. When I got elected mayor, and again, no one thought I had a chance, the mayor of Denver hated the suburban mayors, would not talk to them. The mayor of Aurora, which is the second largest city in the metropolitan Denver, and Denver's 20% of the metropolitan area, so Denver's population is 700,000 people, Metro Denver's 3.2 million. So Denver's pretty small, but it has all the tax base and all the senior water rights. So they just would sneer at the suburbs. When I got elected, I went out to the suburban mayors, and I let them yell at me. And trust me, they hated Denver, and it's no fun to have people yell at you. And you repeat back their words. And then you try to figure out how can you help them in ways that aren't destructive to my self-interest, but how do I help them and demonstrate that I'm going to do everything I can to make them successful as cities. Mm-hmm. And that began a process of almost 2 years where, in the end, all the mayors started working together. And in the beginning, people told me it was absolutely impossible. And again, I'm not saying this would work with Mitch McConnell, because I'm not sure anything would work with Mitch McConnell. I want to be very clear that I'm not naive. But we got the Aurora mayor and every other mayor to unanimously agree to support a tax increase to build fast tracks. It was 122 miles of new light rail track, which was the most ambitious transit initiative in modern American history. And of those 34 mayors, 21 of them were Republicans or very conservative independents. And yet, once we got them all to believe that they were part of something meaningful, they all joined. I think about 21 Republicans supporting a tax increase to build infrastructure. And now if you fly into Denver, you take the light rail in from the airport, you go right to Union Station, and that was built by the whole region. And they are all proud of it to this day, that no one's turned their back on it. And I think that's a model. Now, is that going to work in everything with the federal government? I don't know, but I think there are a lot of places in the federal government, like controlling the inflation of healthcare, dealing with climate change, that we can pretty quickly and aggressively begin to find common interests and give other people a self-interest to, put down their fists and pick up their plow.